Also your driver will wake up. You have one of the best drivers on this island, by the way. His name is Josh. We are going to visit. Oh, we have a map here, that's good. 3 very nice places. First destination is about 20 minutes drive from here. Here means port of Athenios, the main harbor of Santorini. And you can say goodbye to this port, we will not return here anymore. First destination is South Peninsula, at the bottom of the map. There we are going to visit very old but very well preserved city. It's about 4,000 years old, so we'll have turpentine there. Following this visit, we will take you to the North Peninsula of Santorini, which you can see there on the left side. You see on the left side, white settlement on top. This settlement is called Oia, O-I-A, as we spell it. After all this, we will take you again to the central part of Caldera. If I don't kill myself, I'll show you. Here, to Fira, capital of this island. There, first you will charge your batteries in local restaurants to have something to eat. Then you have your free time. And that's actually near here. So let's deal all one good family. And please keep the minibus clean, so coffees, juices, ice creams, you will have time for them outside. Please don't eat them, don't drink them here, because I know you will be careful, but accidents happen and it's really difficult to remove those things from a poster, yes? Thank you very much for respecting this. And I think it's enough about organization. Now I will tell you about this view that you have currently on the left side. This landscape to the left from you has a special name. We call it Caldera. But before I will explain you what does Caldera mean, you see already that Santorini is not a single island, it's a complex of 5 islands. Slightly behind, much smaller, the shape more or less of a hat. Yes? The bigger dark island is called New Bird. It's about 400 years old only. As such, is the youngest island alive. They're mainly farmers, they are growing grapes, producing wines, so they are always happy. And to the left of those 3 islands, to coves of the volcano Estiracia, you have one more very, very small whitish in color island, which is called Aspronisi, heap of volcanic ash. And now try to connect the crescent-shaped island of Santorini we are on right now with thousands of years ago. Here where you see waters in Caldera, that was solid land, so this island was bigger, and it was, and actually still is, powerful volcano. Every about 20,000 years we hear such a violent eruption that following it sent volcanic ash from this eruption. So look at it, you can realize how powerful eruption it was. Following this eruption, the island was already inhabited. One city here got buried under volcanic ash, then found, and that's the excavation site we are going to visit. But now we go to the top of this island, so now we will have different views. Here on the right side, here by the street, white church with blue dome. We have about 400 such churches here, so at the end of your visit you will be fed up with them. On the left side, in the distance, mountain of Prophet Elias, which is the highest and the only one mountain we have on this island. It counts 1,860 feet or 567 meters above the sea level. Maybe it's not very high, but this island is small. Everything here has to be proportional. And the fields on the left and right side, the plants on those fields, you know them very well. Although they look quite strange here. Here many things look strange. These are grapevines. These are grapevines. They grow low by the soil here on this island as protection from wind and from sun. Also in the moment on the left side along the street you will see one of our traditional villages, Megalopori. Traditional village on Santorini means that houses there are built not from bricks, not from wood, but from lava rocks. A traditional building material on this island is lava. Also, Ia, which we are going to visit soon after Akrotiri, is built from lava. But we are very close to our first destination, Akrotiri. So now it's time for the biggest trip of today. But don't worry, you will sit in the minibus so far. It's trip in time. But we have to go back about 6,000 years. So And because it's early morning, you're very tired, I will start in a soft way. Once upon a time, there was a very beautiful island. This island had a shape of a ring, and that's why we call it Strogili, which means ring-shaped in Greek. About 6 or maybe 7,000 years ago, first people arrived to Strogili Island. They settled down on south part of it. There they built few settlements, one fisherman village, one small harbor, and then they established contacts with other islands and lands. Because here around we have many islands from archipelago of Cyclades. Some of them you will see on the horizon while driving to Ia and back. But people from Strogili arrive also to Crete, Egypt, Syria, Palestine, and thanks to very well organized maritime trade, very quickly the small harbor of Strogili turns into one of the biggest and most important here on the Aegean Sea, and the small fisherman village grows into big and beautiful city. People in the city are doing very well, so they think more and more about their own comfort of life, and they build for themselves big houses with 2 and 3 floors, with many rooms. They decorate those rooms with wall paintings, with frescoes. Like today we have tapestry, we have pictures. They had frescoes. And believe me, they were painting much better than I do today. And we are talking about 64,000 years old. They had also very beautiful furniture. I will show you some photos. Luxury equipment. They had sewage and drainage system. And they were well advanced technologically. But it was not given to those people to live long and happily ever after. And that's because the island they chose as a place to live, in fact, was tremendous volcano. And this volcano erupted about 3,600 years ago, which means around 1,600 if empty. It collapsed. And together with the volcano, collapsed part of Strogili Island and disappeared on the bottom of the sea. So actually what we have seen a while ago on the way from the port, the islands Santorini, and Astorisi, these are leftovers of Strogili. And these leftovers got covered almost everywhere with thick layer of volcanic ash, as you could see it also the way from the port. So this way, the city, the harbor, any trace of life here got totally buried. And we had no idea about all this story until year 1967, so about 58 years ago. That's the moment when archaeologists arrive here. They start excavations there in front of us on the left side along the coast, and they find this prehistoric city in surprisingly good condition. That's because volcanic ash covered the buildings but also stuffed inside, and this way protected from other damages for thousands of years. That's why we call this place Pompeii. The difference is though that Pompeii is much younger. It's about 17 centuries younger, which is about 4,000 years old. In the best case, you see foundations, and you need a lot of imagination to figure out how the rest will look like. Here you can send your imagination for holidays. You see everything with your own eyes. Buildings with 2 and 3 floors, rooms, doors, windows, equipment, streets. It's really amazing. To be continued on the excavation site, but now we are on the south peninsula of Santorini, totally on the bottom of the map. In the moment you will have again, exactly to your right, this is New Bird, one cone of the volcano. To the left, triangular right now in the shape, Old Bird. Somewhere there, about 3,600 years ago, was much bigger cone of the volcano. Now behind the triangular Old Bird, today you see Tirasia Island. To the left from Tirasia, whitish Aspromisi. And you can imagine the sights, and the moment you will stop on the parking, we will get off our minibus. Things that you don't need during your visit here. You can leave in the minibus, valuable things take with you, we are not responsible for them. Then we gather at street, always be careful, we gather and we cross the street. Be careful while crossing street. Excavation site, but first towards the restrooms. So if you want, you can use them so you feel comfortable. And then we will meet again as soon as possible in front of the restrooms. I know it's romantic. over. There is a canteen there where you can get some refreshment. Museum shop if it's open. Towards the excavation site and the restrooms. In the middle of the walkway there is a trench for rainwater. It's shallow, but it's deep enough to sprain your ankle. So please don't step in it, okay? We don't want accidents. Stay slightly aside of the sidewalk. And here we are arriving. Let's start being excited. First visit. Yoo-hoo! Right from South Peninsula, to the North Peninsula, but there are nice views of the way. Here on the left side is today's village of Agri side. You see horses. Horseback riding became very fashionable on Santorini last years. And behind you see top of mountain of the Mayas, the limestone mountain, which is exception to the rule because I told you the rest of this island is long and very characteristic way. They are folded in circles. The branches of grapevines here are folded in circles. We call them baskets. Side. Today's village of Santorini, which is also quite old. The oldest part is nearest to us on the hill. On top of this hill you see ruins of fortification. There is a Greek flag, white and blue. Fortification built here in the 14th century as protection from pirates. Also here where we're going are ruins of fortification for those great years. Now on the left side, vineyard, and you see stones painted white spread all over the field. The same on the right side here. Stones painted white and spread all over the green vineyard. They are here for something more than just decoration. I will also explain you soon. But on the right side, sea waters, and there on the horizon, on the right side is Crete, the biggest Greek island, the most important neighbor of the prehistoric city. Today you cannot see Crete, but some days in the year it's visible. It's not far away from here. Left side, exactly to the left, behind the volcano, white settlement. This is Ia, where we're going right now. So it's North Peninsula, now we're on South Peninsula. Then, to the right from the volcano, we see cruise ships. To the right from the cruise ships, on top of the cliff, the white settlement, this is Pira, capital of this island, place where you have your lunch, and also place from which you return to your cruise ship. So you see on foot of the cliff, small port, the old port of this island, yes? From that port you will have tender boats. The question is, how to get there from the city on top of the cliff? 588 stairs down to the port. Tickets for you! Much better? Look at that city over there. From the cruise ships you see the port, and according to his frenzy, that he turned them all into rocks. This is how you get Cycladic Islands in reality. Santorini is the southernmost of Cycladic Islands and the warmest. It's also very dry, so there are not too many plants which want to grow here. But the most faithful to our island is grapevine. Again, you see vineyards here all around. There are no buildings, there are vineyards. Grapevines are folded here in circles. Farmers do it in winter time, and they do it not because they have nothing else to do, just to protect grapevines from winds. Hard to believe today, but Santorini is a very windy island, and frequently winds are very strong. Grapevines cannot grow high up, they would break. So they are folded with coils and kept low by the soil. Also, low by the soil, among leaves is enough shade and humidity, which is very important because all summer long, so all vegetational period, there are no rainfalls here. And the only source of water for plants is humidity from the air. That's why the horizon is usually very hazy. Today not so hazy, but anyways enough so that we cannot see the heat. Volcanic soil is hygroscopic, is able to catch this humidity and to hold back the plant. So this is how they can survive the dry summer. Left side windmill, maize and fava beans were ground on such windmills until the 20th century. Today, some of them are renovated like this one, and they decorate this island. So to help the plants to survive the dry summer, farmers also paint lava rocks, because those stones painted white spread all over the field. These are lava rocks, and you can see lava now because lava is porous. So in pores of lava also stays water from the air. But lava is also water stays in the stone and can serve as additional source of humidity for plants. That's why that's very old trick, very smart and very useful. But anyways, whatever grows here, as I told you, fruits, vegetables are very small. They have very specific taste. Actually, those grapes, we use them for wine production. We have mainly white grape varieties, so we have mainly white wines. You will have local wines also for your lunch in the restaurant at the end of the tour. I will tell you names of two most traditional wines here. In Ia and Tira are many shops with traditional products, so you can get their local wine. Sometimes they offer samples for tasting. The most famous are two, Pinsanto and Acertico. Pinsanto is abbreviation from Vino di Santorini, so wine from Santorini is produced from white grapes which are sun-dried. It's also very sweet and very expensive. For one bottle of Pinsanto you need about 3 times more grapes than to produce one bottle of wine from fresh grapes. As to Acertico, this is very popular grape variety which grows all over the world. All over the world, Acertico wine is about the same taste except Santorini. Here, this dry climate, this volcanic soil, rich in sulfur, gives very specific, very fresh, very juicy, very mineral taste to our Acertico, which is white, dry and fresh wine. And in case you like wines very much and you would like to drink more Santorini wines and you would like to come back here in the future, it's a very special day to choose. 22nd of October, quite soon. 22nd of October is Day of Saint Avernius. Saint Avernius is patron saint of wines. So you know what happens on this day? Barrels of fresh wines are opened here for the first time. Wines are tasted. And then everybody here is very happy. Left side along the coast is the airport of Santorini. In the moment we'll see it better, but from the right side of the minibus. Now close to the minibus vineyards again. From the right side, you will see a village which is called Pyrgos. It's located on the hill. It's a very picturesque place. In your free time, if you want, you can get to Pyrgos by public bus, 10 minutes drive. Climb up this hill and almost panoramic view to Santorini. Just many stairs to go up. That's Pyrgos, which was also capital of this island until 19th century. To the right from Pyrgos mountain of Crocodile, to the left Anafi Island, and along the coast the airport on the right side. Now if you look to the left, from the left side you see North Peninsula with Via, that's where we're going now. Closer on the cliff, Fira, also Fira on the water. Once again, right side Pyrgos and Mountain of the Marias and the airport along the coast on the right side, exactly down to the right airport, which is very busy in summer. In summer we have about 160 flights each day, but the airport is very busy, is very quiet in winter because then only 16 flights each day, and that's it. In winter we have connections with Athens, which is capital of Greece, and in summer with many other capitals all over the world. Practically on Santorini we have only 3 seasons: spring, summer and autumn. We don't have winter as such. If you want frost, if you want snow, rather not on this island. Okay, as to snow, it happens. Every 10 years or so we have snowfalls on Santorini, but then snow does not cover this island over. It's just on top of the mountain of Pyrgos, only for a few hours. But it's enough for those who stay here for winter to drive up the mountain to make a snowman. It's more mud than snow. And as those rainfalls from December, this island turns finally green. And from January, next at least 3 months, this island is yellow. It's colored almost all over, very densely, with small yellow flowers. And believe me, it's the most beautiful time of the year here. It's really magic. But then rainfalls gradually stop, the island dries out, and we proceed towards summer. Summer temperatures here are on average 78, 82 Fahrenheit, so 25, 30 centigrades. Last years, there are more and more, the temperatures here are much better than the same time if you go to Athens or any other big city. Way to Via along the east coast. But here on the cliff on the left side are located the most beautiful villages, the most famous photos, which you know probably from Santorini were done in the villages here located on the cliff, and you will have some opportunity also to get unique photos. The cliff is lime and water is very resistant to hydraulic mortar. Hydraulic means that you can build in water and it remains very, very hard. So that's why this volcanic ash here was used to build Suez Canal in the mid-19th century. Also Corinth Canal in Greece, and many ports all over the Mediterranean Sea. We had 5 quarries on Santorini. These here on the left side were the biggest. And if you look at them, you can realize that mining and export of volcanic ash here were really very high. Yes? We will sell off all this island. So maybe it's better to close the quarries, keep Santorini for the tourists. And we are in Pira, capital of this island. We kind of small town, like everything here, 1,500 inhabitants. But great location on top of the cliff, as you could notice already. And in Pira is located old port of this island. Until 70s of 20th century, which was trouble because, as I told you, the connection between the port and the town were only the stairs, 588. So frequently to walk up and down and to carry their luggage. Since 80s of 20th century, we have also made a car, and that's the thing you will use today. And it's your good day is only one big cruise ship, so there will be no lines or just short lines for the Cape Car. You don't need to worry about this. Port of Athens, the big one we picture up front, got opened in the 70s of 20th century because of specific building material. As I told you, until mid-20th century, people built here from lava rocks. Later in the history, they learned to make mortar from volcanic ash. Today we use bricks, but still the architecture remains traditional, which means not 2 big buildings, 2 floors maximum, and roofs that you see frequently not to Greece. Characteristic for our local architecture are also windows, small and few. This is protection from the sun, overheating by the sun, because in summer it's really powerful, but also protection from the dust. Santorini is very windy, volcanic ash is very fine, very light, it's always in the air, it enters our houses through the smallest cracks, we have to clean them every day. So the less windows we have, the less dust to remove every day. Also, olive oil production is very low because it's too dry for it. These are olive trees, but I will stay at liquids. Now I will tell you about water on this island. And it's good that George gave you water, because I have bad news. This island is totally dry. Currently we don't have springs of sweet water here. So last centuries, to survive on Santorini, people had to collect rainwater. This is problem of many others. In case it's raining, water falls on roofs and then through pipes flows down to the cistern. There is stored and from there is used. The problem is though that we don't have too many rainfalls. Statistically it's only 60 rainy days in the year, and only in winter time, not in summer. So in the best case, annual precipitation here is about 11 inches, 28 centimeters. Rainwater per year is very tough life. Then in 20th century, Santorinians bring water with tank ships from the mainland, and now we don't do it anymore, because now all over Santorini we have wells, deep drills. From there we get groundwater. Just groundwater here. There's nothing else as seawater, with which the soil is saturated, and it's volcanic soil to the rule. We have 12 desalination units on Santorini. They are able to cover only half of our needs for sweet water. So the problem still does exist. Not to mention that in case of power shutdown, which happens frequently because we have only one power plant, we get electric power burning oil here. It's called Virgin Mary of Red. And it's called so because to build this church for construction works, people used red wine instead of water, and the church stays until today. Why not? In your free time in Ikira, you can try to find this church about 1 mile away from the center and dig the walls. Slow, you will see quite many cylindrical and white buildings. On the left side of the street, up the slope, cylindrical white building, already approaching. 3, 2, 1, here we go. They look like windmills, but they are not windmills. Some time ago, there was very eccentric harmony, and you don't know what to do with it. Come here in August, rent one of the windmills, and very soon yeah. So you know this village from photos. The famous 2 blue domes on Caldera, they are here. Windmills on Caldera, also here. Great views of the volcano from here. Santorini was the only village on this island inhabited mainly by rich people. All over Santorini were poor farmers, that was before tourism. In Ira were living landowners and ship captain houses, as we call them, because mainly captains of the ships. Sailors were much poorer, so they built for themselves small houses from lava, or they dig their houses in volcanic ash. Ira is located on the cliff. The uppermost part of this cliff is volcanic ash, which is soft. So it's easy to dig a cave and to live there. Cave houses we have spread all over Santorini, but here they are located one by another on the cliffs in the past. Today they are the most expensive dwellings here. That's the wheel of fortune. Many of those cave houses got converted into hotel rooms. So what you will see today in here on the cliff are luxury walkway along Ia village, got paved with marble flagstones in 19th century, just to show how rich Ia is. All along this marble street are beautiful captain houses. Be careful please, don't slide, don't fall down, especially that on your way there will be sometimes stairs, yes? Tomatoes, chicken, salad, then is also kind of yogurt with fruits as dessert, and after this it's finished, yes? So You don't need, and of course, wine for drinking and water, yes? So after you're done with your food, you don't need to wait for the rest of the group because there will be yelling that you cannot complain. Because on Santorini we have everything we need to function normally. Here on this island we have 14 villages and 20 wineries. Now the main source of incomes, the main industry on this island is tourism. Tourism is developing here very rapidly, but no more than last about 50 years. Until that time, Santorini was just a small island, lost somewhere here on the giant sea. Very few people had idea about its existence. Very few Santorinians had idea about the life of this island, outside of this island. At that time, people were living here mainly from agriculture, cultivation of this volcanic soil. And that was very tough time for the people because, as you see, Santorini is very dry. Work here is very hard, but crops very low. And that's the reason why people here were extremely poor. But, of course, like everywhere in the world, where you have poor people, you have also rich people. The rich people of Santorini were living mainly in Piva, which you have just visited. They were landowners and ship owners. Yes, which means sharks. They had to live also without electricity. Electrification of this island starts in the late 60s of 20th century. And until the 90s, still there were some houses here without electric power. So if you wanted to cook something, you had to make fire in the oven, burning wood, which is very expensive. So housewives had to be very economical with it. They were making fire in the oven only once per few days, cooking enough food to serve it cold to the members of the family for the next few days. Until the beginning of 20th century, bread on this island was baked only twice a year, and then it was stored for many months. This bread was made from barley, since it was very dark and very hard, and those who were not used to it, after eating this bread, were getting sick. Archaeologists arrived to this island. They start excavations in the south peninsula of Santorini Island, and they find the prehistoric city we have visited at the beginning of our tour. And they see that the story is quite similar to Pompeii, so city well preserved under volcanic ash following tremendous eruption of the volcano. At that time, Pompeii had been very well known already all over the world, so to advertise Santorini, they start calling this island Pompeii of Aegean Sea, so that potential tourists would know what to expect while arriving here. And this way, first visitors come to Santorini to see our Pompeii. By the way, this island is like a woman, has many names. Starting from distant past, when it was bigger, you remember the story from Santorini, it was ring-shaped. Then when we're talking about this island from that times, before this powerful eruption of the volcano, we call it Strogir, ring-shaped. Later, ancient Greeks called this island Kalisti, which means the most beautiful. And about 3,000 years ago, arrived here Spartans. Sparta is located on Greek Peninsula, the south part of Britain is far away from here. And in the course of history, Sparta became the military power of ancient Greece. But before it happened, some of the Spartans arrived here and they built their settlements on the extension of mountain of Prophet Elias. If you look to the left, you see the mountain of Prophet Elias, its left lower side, that's where Sparta built the city. This city became capital of this island for next about 1,000 years, and they called the city in honor of their king. Their king's name was Theras, and King Theras was very generous person, so he gave his name to all this island, by the way. And that's why officially it's called Thera until today, after the king of Spartans. But what happened next? Next, we are not doing well. There are Spanish port also here. very religious, so they are looking for some patron saint. And at that time, there was here church dedicated to Saint Irene. Oh, hello, donkey, on the right side here. I noticed that very close to the walkway we have to follow the restaurant into the Golden Street. Just this is very busy place, and actually he's not allowed to stop there for long. So please be prepared to leave the minibus as soon as possible, as quickly as possible, so we don't put him in trouble for his good heart. And this time take all your belongings with you. That will be 5 to 6